Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with Maya today, our Black Mesa analyst. Hi, Maya.
Hi, Sezgi.
How's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
All good. Really excited about what you're going to take us through today. And that is the Nike deep dive that you worked on. And it's a really robust deep dive, I must say. So you can see
Yeah.
pictures here, everybody who's watching this live. And both of us are obviously fans of Nike, as you can see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you put a lot of time into this, Maya. I'm not gonna take more time from you. So let's just kick it off, and we'll ask you some questions as we go. We're gonna do it in a podcast style. So obviously, everybody, I mean, our audiences already know what Nike is and what kind of a company Nike is. But nevertheless, if you wanted to highlight maybe a few things about this company that even though people know the brand name Nike, maybe you could kind of surprise them with a couple of facts that they might not know.
Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but their revenue is over 50 billion US dollars. Um, and we all know that they sign deals like major athletes like Michael Jordan, Serena Williams. I could name millions more, but I'll save you the time. Um, they I think we all know that they invest a lot into like into AI, digital apps. Um, some of you might be on the Nike Trading Club or the Sneakers app and may use various market.
Mm.
And today they're one of the most valuable brands in sportswear.
I mean, obviously, thank you for that. I knew that they were large, but I never thought that they hit the $50 billion mark. I mean, that's a great information you shared with us. And yeah, I mean, we not all of the Nike consumers would know all these technological, innovative apps that they launched and use. So thank you for letting us know about those important details about Nike, right? Because not all of us are investors of Nike, but this is an investor
Yeah.
presentation. So yeah, thanks for the information. Okay, I guess I like that you started with this slide when you were preparing it, Maya, because I think it's important to start with why and not with what and how. So, what really stands out when you look at the mission and the vision of this company? I mean, and with your own words, what really stands out from your point of view?
I love how it stand out. Nike makes it super clear that no matter what shape, height, color, no matter if you're an actual athlete or you just want to get started, they can make everything for you. And they always try to be the most connected and distinctive brand and try to stay connected with their consumers. And I think that's what people really look for when they go into big brands. They want to see something made for everyone. They want their brand to be loyal so that they have everything they need for whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I fully agree with what you're saying, and the way that mission and vision translates into core values is also fascinating because the question comes to my mind immediately: why, for example, Adidas or Puma or Under Armour like cannot be as successful as Nike? So, what's that value that Nike has that the competitors cannot get or have?
I mean, let's begin with like all their sponsorships. I
Mm,
mean, Nike have come a long way from not just sponsoring random nobodies on the street, but they've signed major deals with like LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo that everyone knows, Steph Curry. I could let's say Simone Biles too. Like those are all major celebrities that everyone knows. So obviously that's going to attract customers, right? And they also have another core value of inspiration, like all their ads, all their slogans, all their mottos and product advertisements. It really inspires people and shows them that they're a trusting company and that like they're loyal. You should go to Nike. And yeah, they also always please their customers by creating cutting edge products. They always try to make the best and most advanced products, try to please all their customers.
Yeah, I remember like starting with the innovation bit. I remember I was training for a triathlon, so I bought this special shoe of Nike. I forgot the name now, but it was like what $250 or something, and it looked like it came from space. You know, it was so large, and then it was I don't know, it was like a boat from the bottom, and then
Was it like a super fly?
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it felt weird. I literally thought I was flying when I was running. Like it was so light and designed in such a way that I think it was giving unfair advantage to me. But yeah, I know what you mean
I
about
mean,
innovation. Yeah.
yeah, but like, see, Nike always tries to make the best for people. However, these shoes are now illegal in many sports and competitive running. Yeah, because it gives you an unfair advantage. This also proves that Nike is always trying to help their customers. And whilst Puma and Adidas make flat shoes with spikes, Nike can do all of that and make a super soft foam layer to help you run faster, which is also could be a reason why people prefer to choose Nike over any other brands.
Wow, that's very fascinating fact that I didn't know. And you mentioned something really important about the sponsorships. Actually, I really believe that that's what differentiates Nike versus others. You know, you don't see all these big shots, you know, big athletes and famous athletes really choosing Adidas, for example. Yeah, some do, but you know, the majority, the best players in any field, I would say,
Yeah,
you
but like his like Nike's biggest competitor was probably like 2018, 2019, where we had this battle of Cristiano and Lionel. So the world's best football players. We have Ronaldo and Messi. While Nike had all the other superstars, people were mainly focusing on Ronaldo. However, Adidas had a trick up their sleeve and had Messi. So there was this huge rivalry. But I still think that Nike is just flying above the charts, you know?
correct, correct.
Too, they're too good. Like they've got too much.
I agree. I agree. They cannot have it all, obviously. It doesn't look good anyways. Then they go to this unfair competition kind of law problems and so on. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But,
you
mhm.
can't get
But
all.
also, sorry. Another fact could be that um, I don't think you knew, but during my presentation, you'll see later that I include that I mean Nike are being like super eco-friendly, using eco-friendly products to try to attract Gen Z and people that want the planet to go green. Um, I forgot which year, but it was in 2020s, I think, 2018s. Adidas launched a new football shirt made out of plastic.
Mm,
However, it started raining during that match, and it was
okay.
a huge failure.
Oh
It
wow.
all it came apart. It started melting. Everyone had to change their shirts. So I think that also really let Adidas down. Well, Nike can come up with like super super green products that could actually hold together.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of product needs to be, especially needs to be tested like multiple times. I mean, if not
Hmm.
100 times, because you know
Yeah, that's what Nike does.
that's what Nike does exactly. Okay, moving into key products. I mean, obviously, we know that Nike does more than just footwear, but what are just few
Yeah.
highlights that you want to talk about, just very briefly, about the type of products Nike has and the contribution of each products to the overall Nike business?
Yeah, so we can see that obviously we know they make shoes, they make sportswear such as tops, leggings, everything you need for training. But they also have equipment and accessories. So all these bags, hats, balls, gloves, everything. And here on the chart, you could see that actually sportswear takes the most space in their brand revenue. Um, the Jordan brand takes a huge slot, and so does. But we can see here that footwear mainly dominates the market, and we can also see that it's um sorry they
Bless
have they dominate the Nike's revenue is 68% of the total revenue. So we can see that footwear is like the largest, but they're also followed by the Jordan brand and by basketball and soccer.
Yeah, I mean. it's interesting that Jordan brand alone is 13% of Nike's business. That's fascinating. And
I mean, yeah, it's one of the most iconic types of shoes in history, along with the Air Forces and the Nike Flies or whatever.
mhm. And yet again, we see apparel at 28% of total revenue. It's not that small.
Yeah,
Still large.
it's still quite large, but it's just that imagine you're in a Nike store, right? You walk in, there's shoes on one aisle, um, everything else on the other aisle. So you look at shoes. Oh, I need to buy some new football sneakers. You get the sneakers, you go to the checkout, but you walk past the ball sections. I say, oh, my ball at home is gonna be flat soon, or let's just take another ball in case I lose the other one. And they keep making money because, but although equipment accessories are so small, people still need to buy like new balls, new everything, because like um especially when um sports use their products. Like say the Premier League uses a Nike ball
Mm-hmm.
or stuff like that. People are convinced that it's the best product and that's why everyone uses it. So they also might invest more in equipment and accessories.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, of course. As long as there is demand, there is going to be more investment towards that, including innovation. Uh, that's how the way the companies work. So moving into the behind the scenes guys, I mean, board members usually they are not at the forefront, other than obviously the CEO. The rest are mostly like they have their own jobs generally, and they are actually extended member. They're independent members most of the time. So what are you gonna say about this four top most important board? I like how you divided the slide into top four and then the rest. No offense
Yeah.
to the rest. It's just that these four people have much
These are the most important things.
correctly. Right.
Yeah.
So tell us.
So under each of them, you can see there's a brief description. But as you look to the right, you see popular name, Tim Cook. And you're wondering how is the CEO of Apple Inc. in the top four most important board members?
Mhm,
Well, he's Tim Cook. What can you say?
mhm,
Um, but there's also a lot of people with a bunch of backstories, like Elliot J. Hill, who was recently appointed CEO just last year, and Mark Parker, who was former CEO for 14 years. So each of these people have a story behind them,
mhm. I'm
and
not going into the details. I'm curious about the Elliot Hill because he's been in the company, I don't know how many years, 30 years before, and
30 years. Yeah.
abruptly he left when then there was a new CEO, obviously.
Yes.
Can you remind me his name? Some Donna something? What is it?
I think it was, let
Doe?
me just, it was John Donahoe.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
became, he came from a consulting and tech
yeah,
background.
but why
Um,
the company hire somebody with a consulting background for such an
I
important?
have no, I have no idea, but Mark Parker was there for over 30 years. But because of John Donahoe and let's say his not very wise decisions, Mark left, but then came back and became CEO in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And I think although last year wasn't the best year, I think that this year he's gonna lead Nike to some success.
Wouldn't be surprised if the turnaround happens, towards the end of this year or next year with the EPS and revenue reacceleration
Yeah.
because this guy knows what he's talking about. And I never understood why the company hired somebody from a consulting background for
Hmm.
such an important position. Nike is
Yeah, me neither.
operational
I mean,
position, marketing. Yeah.
maybe I I have reason to believe that they hired John Donahoe because maybe that was kind of 2020 was the era where people are starting to explore technology, AI, all of these things. So maybe since he came from a tech background,
Mm.
people thought that he'd be able to understand what we're working with and how to improve, because maybe people are looking for more advanced products and stuff like that.
I mean, AI is nice and dandy, but at the end of the day, this is a shoe and clothing company. I mean, But anyways,
Yeah, that's
moving into the rest of the board, we're not going to spend too much time here. I believe it's I can see people from Deloitte auditing background to Kimberly Clark in FMCG to investments to other things. I believe it's quite diverse set of people from different walks of life and different backgrounds working together for the betterment of Nike. Can we say that?
yeah. To summarize, these are just very important people that even if they were from different companies, they still somehow help Nike to become who they are today, and that's why they're part of the board.
Absolutely. And moving to the C-suite executives, I guess we already touched upon Hill and Parker, so I'll skip this slide.
Yeah.
And what you gonna tell me about the next two?
So Nikhil Dokvan, he's Nike's chief operating officer. Um, as I said, he's responsible for global operations. He ensures efficiency and stability across company supply chain and logistics. So he's quite important and makes sure that you know he he makes sure that everything's okay, right?
Yeah,
Making sure that nothing goes wrong with things.
I mean supply
Mm.
chain and
It's the
operations
global
in
operations.
hand. So I believe it's good that you put them together in the same slide. Companies the size of Nike should have smooth operations in
Hmm.
logistics as well. So I'm sure these two
Yeah,
can
all the
do
time.
a great job.
Because some if something goes wrong, it really hurts their sales. So they can't risk going.
Correct,
You
especially
know.
the production doesn't happens overseas, and they're selling literally in every country, I believe. So supply chain becomes a huge factor, and operations become a huge factor in the success of the
Hmm.
business.
Yeah.
What about these two people, Muge?
Uh, so we can just say, in short, Dr. Muge she's the chief technology officer. She's a tech whiz. She responsible for anything technological and digital. I know that's
Hmm?
a brief description. But moving on to Thomas, to Dr. Clark, the one with a weird beard. Don't worry, that's not drool, that's a beard. I don't understand his style,
Yeah,
but
at
it's
first I
okay.
was, yeah, but respect the styles.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe he's like
He's an
someone
innovation
from the
guy
future.
after
Maybe
all. He's creative, right? So.
yeah, maybe he's from the he went back in time and that we're all gonna wear beards like that when we're older, you know.
Yes.
But brief description on Dr. Clark. He is the president of innovation. He's a visionary. He's dreaming up the next big thing before we even realize we want it.
Mm-hmm.
He focuses on developing products and technologies that align with Nike's vision, basically.
I mean, yeah, look at what Nike has created,
Yeah.
in the last couple of decades. I'm sure. I don't know how long Dr. Clark has been in the company, but I'm assuming that
Yeah, I'm sure it's quite long.
yeah, he has his footprint there and his own blueprint.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think he's really done a
Yeah.
good job there, both of them.
Hmm.
All right, so what makes Nike, let's say, unique? What kind of unique selling propositioning they have versus the competition, as we were discussing just a couple of slides before in the beginning of this presentation?
Um, for the unique selling proposition, they have a super famous quote. If you have a body, you're an athlete. They inspire everyone, and I mean like everyone, to move. Like no matter what level you're at, no matter if you're larger than other people, no matter if you're an actual athlete, that doesn't matter if you're started, like no matter what level you're at. And they they also have like really strong brand strength. Like everyone knows the swoosh with legends like Michael Jordan, Simone Biles, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Serena Williams. They also have a game strong innovation, so they they not just making sneakers. You could say they're making the future.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, I grew up also, with the tagline of "Just do it," and this applies to obviously the
Yeah, it's absolutely iconic. Yeah.
attitude. Yeah, yeah. What else do we have here?
We also have influencer power. So let me name some more. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Serena Williams, Ronaldo, Simone Biles. Nike is basically the Avengers of the sports, you know? The
Hmm.
Jordan brand alone pulls in like billions per year.
Oh, 5 billion.
Pretty sure it's over 5 billion.
So remember we saw it in
Hmm.
the pie chart. It was 13% of the
Yeah,
business, right? So that's probably
yeah, and that's
to 5 billion. Yeah.
yeah, it's quite big. And if they're worth 51.4 billion,
Hmm.
imagine how much 13% of that would be. That's huge.
Correct, correct.
That's over 5 billions just from the Jordan brand. But they also have a direct consumer model. If you don't know what that is, it's basically direct consumer models when they don't sell through other stores, but they
Hmm.
sell through their own stores. So, Nike instead of going to Foot Locker or to other stores to sell their shoes, they sell it straight through their actual websites like Nike.com or their own stores. And this means more control, better data, and more personalized kicks.
And better margin because they're eliminating the
Yeah,
middleman. Right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, completely agree.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. And let's talk about segments a little bit. I mean, we already talked about direct to consumer as a segment, but
Mhm.
DTC, I'm sure you will show us the revenue contribution of DTC and others later on.
Yeah.
What can we say about the wholesale? Is it still important, do you believe, for Nike to have wholesale?
Um,
Should they stop it
I
right?
believe like you could say that it's still vital to Nike's success,
Hmm?
but Nike's like slowly passing on their stuff to direct consumer because they have reason to believe that they'll make more money if they sell through their own stores instead of, let's say, Foot Locker, JD Sports, much more.
Yeah, I think it's still vital, as you said, to have
Yeah.
those partners. You should have if you want to transition into DTC, do it, but do it gradually rather than just like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why they're slowly passing on to DTC. They won't like um if they s- really if they transition really fast and something doesn't go well, they lose everything. I don't know how to say it, they fail
during the
at
previous
them.
CEO stint, I believe that there was a lot of drama with Foot Locker when I think if
Hmm.
maybe they haven't renewed the contract or something happened, I don't recall exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It caused a big drop in the sales, but now that relationship is being fixed and Foot
Sealed. Yeah.
sold already to. Yeah, cool. And talk
Mhm.
about the segments.
Also, they're separated into four different categories or four different areas. So we got North America, which is where most of their sales happen.
Mhm.
They've also got EMEA, which stands for Europe, Middle East, and Asia. They're all grouped together.
Africa, yeah.
They also have the Greater China, which is everything in China, like China and the few surrounding countries. And then we have APLA, which is Asia Pacific and Latin America.
Yeah, I think the split makes sense. It's just that,
Yeah, because like
I mean, normally global companies do not have this APLA combination. Usually they have APAC, Asia Pacific, but it's interesting twist having Latin America there with Asia Pacific. I'm sure there's a
yeah, because
reason behind
I
it.
think they yeah, I think they have like super different sales and they might really want to see where if they're improving because like there's if when their main market is in North America, they want to see how much better they are doing in South America, right? So they
Hmm.
want to see the difference. So I think that's why they have APLA and then they have just North America.
Cool, cool, cool. Fair enough. Okay, some numbers now. I know it's a bit cluttered, too much for our audience, but what are some key highlights that
Yeah.
you take us through, and I will use the pointer here to show to everybody.
So as you can see, Nike did an excellent job. They increased the revenue from 2011 2024 by a whopping, I think it was 31 billion US dollars.
Wow, yeah.
And the direct consumer portion of that had also had a significant increase. Um, as a result of the success, DCC now contributes 42% to the total Nike business
Wow,
and almost 60% to the revenue increase of Nike.
wow.
And Nike disproportionately higher investment into direct to consumer caused a massive spike in the revenue during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean that's wow. I mean, look at DTC revenue in 2010. It was just
Yeah,
$3 billion, whereas the total revenue of Nike was 19 billion. So the contribution was quite small. And
yeah.
over the course
And
of
now it's over,
four,
yeah, now it's almost 21 billion and only 4.7 billion in quarter three, which is almost double what they had in 1 year in 2010. So
yeah,
because
more
they
than
had a
that,
huge,
15%, DTC was 15% of total revenue, and
Mhm.
figures are showing.
Now it's 42%.
Yeah, that's really
Wow.
good job. And I think, as you mentioned, DTC revenue skyrocketed during the COVID time, as we can see. The numbers are really looking significantly higher during COVID time, as people were stuck and then ordering things home with all the stimulus money that they had.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, that explains, like, the more DTC contribution the business has, the higher the margins, because of that cutting the middleman effect. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very good point. And when you see, for example, DC, you mentioned that DTC contributed 59.4% of the total Nike
Yeah.
increase, and this percentage is much higher than the DTC contribution of,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah.
even
Completely agree.
accelerating further.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the
So,
geographic breakdown.
yeah. So, so clearly North America always had the highest revenue contribution. And when we look at the geography performance in the last 2 years, it's evident that North American contribution has increased by over 200 basis points.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
And
at
who,
the expense of, sorry,
who lost at the expense of?
at the expense of China and EMEA contribution, they
Mm,
declined. But, and however, APLA contribution is slightly increased in the same period, however, so slightly though.
I see North America is gaining ground. I mean, sorry,
Yeah, there.
yeah, exactly. Widening the
They
gap.
gained,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we can see that they gained almost 3%, or to be exact,
2%.
2.93.
No, 2.222, as you wrote here, 202 basis points. So,
Yeah, almost, yeah, 202 basis points
right.
or 203 basis points from 2022 to 2023. However, they had a decline in 2024.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
Europe
mean,
and
that's when,
China is doing a comeback, as you can see, slightly so as
yeah, yeah,
China. Yeah, yeah.
slightly, but like if they continue like this, they might, they could potentially be,
In the end of
um,
the day, it depends also on this
quite
tariff.
for it, yeah.
So we need to watch closely what the tariffs will do to this mix. Um,
Thanks, Trump.
and also national, like, if maybe China might say that we don't want to wear anymore, or American made products.
And like if
Some
their if their the percentage of their share goes down, I think we have one person to blame. Um,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
yeah,
yes, national security, as he puts it. But yeah, it's what we call geopolitics, and as investors, we have to always understand and incorporate that into our investment thesis. But we don't have to really panic about it. Let's put it that way. It can create
Mhm.
some good opportunities. So I'm not gonna play the ads. You did a very good job hyperlinking these here, the YouTube links. But
Yeah,
can you just tell us very quickly your highlights from this next three ads that you're portraying here, starting with "You Can
yeah.
Stop Us."
So this ad was it was during the pandemic. This is why one of the reasons why it was so successful, and one of the reasons why it got over 50 million views in almost 48 hours, is because the world was in COVID. They were locked down, live sports were paused. It was a perfect time and placement when it was a massive brand lift when the world needed inspiration. They Nike targeted sports fans, like they targeted them across YouTube, Instagram, and more social media. So it was emotional, uplifting, and perfectly timed.
Yeah, and yeah, I can see that, Nike does a very good job, really, creating, responding to events through the ads that
Yeah,
we create on a in a timely manner.
yeah.
If I
And
look,
it's like perfectly timed. Everyone needs inspiration, you know what I mean?
biggest challenge of large companies, and I used to work in large companies as well, it's very difficult to create a piece of ad that you want to run in a very quick span of time, period of time, because your
Yeah.
boss needs to approve it, has to go to region, global for approval, come back. I believe that this kind of ads can be done at the global level, headquarter level, so you can skip all that bureaucracy and governance very
I mean,
quickly.
like they're Nike. Like, I think we would all be pretty disappointed if their ads weren't as good as that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're Nike. They have to keep their expectations high. They have to keep
Yeah, I think they have some sort of,
everything
I think they
at a high
structured
level.
the marketing team in a way that they can really respond to these things with quick approval processes. And I think that's a very smart move. 50 million views in 48 hours is not bad at all. What about the
Hmm.
quality campaign?
Well, so this was mainly dedicated um to like storytelling alignment with social justice movements. It really connected deeply with audiences. It was about racism and exclusion. So,
Hmm.
like, I mean, from what we see on the screen, we can really tell that it was um kind of how do I explain it? It was a powerful film narrated by surprise surprise Michael B. Jordan, but had super emotional storytelling. It had alignment with social justice movements, and as I said, it connected deeply with audiences.
Empowerment and
Had over
diversity
88 million
is a big
impressions.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And had over 88 million impressions and a strong social engagement. And if that wasn't enough, Nike backed it up with 5 million US dollars in donations. They
Hmm.
turned values into action and building long-term brand loyalty. And as I said before, this is one of the reasons people are so dedicated and loyal to Nike.
They walk the talk here, as you can say. It's just not just talk. Yeah. And this last one, it's very recent.
And yeah, it's very recent, and it was directed by. It was actually directed by Saudi Arabia's first female filmmaker, and um,
Haifa Al Mansour, just to mention her name, great execution.
yeah, she's. Mhm. Um, Along this storyline, it tells a moving story of a young girl who discovers sports. Um, and it ran across YouTube, Instagram, and X with tailored content for maximum engagement. Um, the impact was over 37 million views on YouTube, major traction on social media, and also sparked global conversations on inclusion in sports. It was authentic, empowering, and culturally relevant. It struck a chord.
Yeah, I mean, if this doesn't build brand love, then what does? I mean, it's really
Exactly. Yeah,
uh,
because there's also this stage of when people judge others for how they look. As a famous quote, never judge a book by its cover. So
mm,
I'd say people in Saudi Arabia, many females wear the hijab, and many are judged on how they look. So I think Nike also kind of dedicated that to trying to how to say so people don't discriminate each other and show that who doesn't matter what you look like, where you're from, you can do what like a normal person would be,
of course they can
another person would.
they can still do what they want. They can
Mhm.
compete, they can win. They can just
Exactly.
have enjoy their sports life, and yeah. I think definitely this one inspired young girls in Saudi Arabia to embrace sports even more during this times of transition, and they will probably grow up wearing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, back to numbers. So I like
Oh
this chart.
gosh.
I like this chart
Oh
because it's diving into the financial statements, like income statement
yeah.
and cash flow statement, and balance sheets, something that of course
Mhm.
also learning at Black Mesa with us. Thank you for putting this together. A lot of numbers here again. So what would you want to highlight here?
So I would like to highlight that the revenue surged up by almost 10% in 2023, but then it kind of leveled off in 2024. But the net income, it shot up 12%, which is huge. Nike also cleaned up the balance sheet, meaning more cash, less debt, and a stronger cash flow. Um, and the bottom line, it means that Nike's becoming leaner, stronger, and maybe even positioned for bigger growth ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting. The story is a bit twofold here. I mean, starting 2023, you see this massive spike of revenue, 10%, which is great.
But then there's like barely any
But it
growth in
comes at the
2024.
expense of having a dilution in the net income. 17% growth is significant.
Yeah, but
And
this could also make us wonder, was John's Dalho's leave
yeah,
leave movement was it a good decision? Because as you can see in 2023 when he was still CEO, they had a huge income growth. But when what was his name again? Mark J became CEO again. I mean, when he just became CEO, there
Hill.
was barely any growth. So yeah,
Yes,
Mark Hill.
yeah. So
No, it was yeah,
yeah, I mean here clearly when the revenue spike, it came in the expense of net income and the cash, short-term investments. The long-term debt was, I mean, 9 billion. It's
mm-hmm.
definitely compared to the cash they have, it's significant in my opinion. And they were using
Mm-hmm.
more and more cash to fuel that growth, most likely. However, in 2024, we see the revenue flat because they decided to not spend too much money like they did in 2020.
Yeah,
Clearly, they tightened their belt.
yeah,
Long-term
mm-hmm.
debt decline because they used that money to pay off the debt. You know, the money that they were making
Yeah, yeah,
as a free cash flow increased significantly. So it came this time at the expense of having a flat revenue growth. So they're trying to fix the problems more on the bottom line, but you know, then their revenue really slowed down. So I think this year, 2025, is more of a
mm-hmm.
reorg, reestablish for 2026 successful to have a 2026 successful 2026 on top and bottom line. So let's see the CEO. I'm sure will do his magic.
Yeah.
And what about if we zoom into the last 4 quarters? What do we see here?
Revenue dropped steadily from 12.6 to 11.27.
Hmm.
The gross margin unfortunately also slipped 320 basis points, and the net margin fell 490 points. So that's nearly from 12% to 7%. And basically everything, if that wasn't bad enough, the revenue growth has been negative, deepening from -2 to negative 9%. So
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the Nike's new CEO, I mean, the Elliot Hill returned October 2024. But I mean, he cannot just do his magic right away. So obviously they brought
mhm,
him, the management, the board brought him also probably assuming that 2025 will be a tough year. Because if you look at these numbers, 2024,
yeah,
okay, we're fixing the bottom line, we're fixing the net income, we're fixing the reducing the debt, and we are increasing our cash flow. Okay, this could be the reset year, and 2025 supposed to be supposed to be under the previous CEO, the acceleration or turnaround, let's say. But apparently that was not going to happen, so they let him go, and now they brought Hill in kind of like September, October 2024, and obviously you can see that the tide is turning again to a negative. I mean, the things are also going bad again. Now you have not only the net income is going down and gross margin is going up, but also the revenue this time. So it's three issues at the same time. Because before, if you look at
yeah,
2023, at least the revenue was going up while the rest was declining.
Yeah,
But now everything is declining. So it's really alarming. And hopefully this year will be the year of reset and Elliott Hill will fix
let's
these
hope,
in 2026.
let's hope so.
Competitor.
So, this is gonna be pretty brief because I think we already know who these are.
Mhm.
Adidas, we know them. Messi sponsor, huge, huge competitor. Um, I'll just add, if you don't know who these are, you might be wearing flip-flops to a marathon. So, um, I mean, I honestly don't know how you wouldn't know these unless like you're locked inside your house and you've never been outside. But just to briefly cover them. So Adidas is a big global player. It sells to all the usual channels. They sell mixed sports, streetwear, and outdoor gear. Puma, who's also global, they focus more on sports like football and motorsport, and also outdoor gear. They also sell through all the usual channels. And Armor, another Armor, they're US based, but they're known for the performance gear, especially in training and team sports. But they're mostly wholesale and online. But so in conclusion, there's solid brands, but not untouchable. There's clear route to compete and win.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing further to add. Uh,
Mm.
all right, so but let's talk about their performance, starting with the global revenue and market share status of each. So, what are some key highlights here?
So North America, oh wait, sorry. So I mean, so here's a scoop. Nike's still king with 51.4 billion
Hmm?
and about 14.1 of the market. But last year they took a bit of a hit. They lost some brands to other brands like Adidas. Adidas though, they made some solid moves. They got more market share and Puma's been pretty steady doing their own thing. However, Under Armour, they took a small step back.
Globally, right? I see.
Yeah,
It looks very underwhelming when I look at Puma and Under Armour. I mean, maintaining position at 3% doesn't sound that exciting to me. They still command a loyal percentage of people globally. Same as Under Armour, but I feel like Under Armour's been in a decline for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that this is a game between Nike and Adidas, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, how about by region? This is good, by the way. Thank you for diving into this in more details, to help us understand where's the magic of Nike happening. Yeah. So tell me about the North America.
So North America, they're still Nike's still number one at around 43.4%. But growth has stalled.
Hmm.
Adidas is far behind. So leadership here is safe for now.
Hmm.
However, EMEA, Nike leads at 20, although Nike still leads at 27.6, Adidas is gaining fast, with this year having 19% revenue growth.
Oh,
So if this trend continues, Nike risks losing the top spot.
yeah, because there's not much difference between them. I mean, look, it's 21
Yeah,
versus 27 and
yeah,
19% increase, meaning that they're already gaining market share in Europe, yeah? Adidas, Europe, Middle East, Africa.
yeah,
Wow. Oh, oh. And something else I noticed here, Under Armour's global market share is 2.5 and Puma 3. However, if I look at the North America, Under Armour has 7% market share, which means they're way more famous in the US than anywhere else, by
yeah,
7%. But it's declining. It was 8% market share. They're losing market share clearly to
yeah,
other players. And Puma, on the other hand, has a much higher market share, 7.7% in Europe, Middle East, Africa, versus their average, which is 3%. So it seems Puma's playground is EMEA. That's where their strength is. That's clearly the indication here.
mm,
All right.
yeah. Okay, so Greater China, Nike's still at the top spot, um, at 50.3, but Adidas is growing more than twice as fast. Nike is bleeding market share rapidly to Adidas.
Mm, mm.
This needs to be fixed quickly, or Adidas will catch up. And in addition, Puma is also gaining market share with strong and almost double-digit sale growth. So they're improving. However, in Asia Pacific and Latin America, Nike is still on the top spot with 13.7%, but Adidas is surging, especially in Latin America with
Well,
28% growth. That's
even the American
insane.
market is 19. It's not even small. So I mean, Latin America, like
Mhm.
28%, they will catch Nike very soon with this
Mhm.
speed.
Yeah.
And Under Armour is like really, really doing terrible in Greater China and Apply as well. Look at that 1%, very underwhelming, and the revenue is decreasing. It feels like soon they will be zero.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, soon
Um,
only remaining in United States with this speed.
yeah. But remember that North America isn't just the United States, it's also Canada and a bunch of small other countries.
But majority would be US.
Yeah, majority.
Correct, correct. Okay, so the takeaway here is that Adidas, with the exception of in North America, they're gaining ground. And in fact,
Yeah.
leadership of Nike is, especially in APLA, is under big threat. Greater China, still the gap is large, and even EMEA, Adidas is catching up significantly and fast. So Nike has to do something about it.
Yeah. I think we should move on to the market share analysis. Yeah. So we can see that Nike, of course, still dominates athletic footwear. I mean, that's where most of their market power comes from anyway. From 2020 to 2023, footwear stayed steady,
Mhm.
maybe even edged up a little. But when we look at the sportswear overall, so shoes plus apparel, the story changes. They're losing share, and it's mostly because apparel is slipping. So, um, they're solid on shoes. I mean, that's what they're, that's who Nike is. That's who Nike is. Like, that's their core, right? But if apparel keeps underperforming, they'll risk losing ground in total sportswear.
So when
So,
we,
but
yeah.
uh, yeah, being like Nike's still on top, but they don't course correct, the lead won't last.
Correct. Now we understand better that all these market share declines we see in most of the regions, when we looked at region wise, it is clear that it's most likely coming from apparel, not from the footwear. Hmm. Okay, so tell me about some growth opportunities that you see with Nike from your own words.
Hmm. So, I mean, we can look at expanding in emerging markets. I mean, Nike's tapping into the rising middle classes in Asia and also India and Africa. So they offer affordable yet super high quality gear. Because as we know that Asia and India and Africa aren't the most developed countries and not the most developed area. So Nike's playing it smart by giving them um high quality but super affordable gear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nike have many growth opportunities in direct consumer sales. They sell through their own apps and stores, and Nike's making more money and building better customer bonds. Also, stylish and inclusive sportswear for women and children. It's Nike's next big play. And as we talked about before, Nike's going green with recycled materials to win over Gen Z and eco-conscious shoppers. This will make the customers feel like they really care about the planet and trying to make them go green. As I said before as well, Nike's apps, AI features, um, gamified fitness tools. They're turning workouts into brand loyalty. And of course, who we can't forget collaborations and limited drops. So they've got collaborations with stars like Travis Scott and Serena Williams. They make Nike drop hot and hype worthy. I
Yeah.
mean, who doesn't like having Travis Scott on their front page?
No, good points. I think you covered everything in the growth opportunities. And expanding in emerging markets will help the company to bridge the market share loss, the issues. I mean,
Yeah.
on that problem that's going on
Hmm.
there. DTC is growing significantly already, and of course, the more the DTC
Yeah.
they have, better the margins and better the control and
Hmm.
less reliability on the wholesale business. Women's and kids, I fully agree. You gave the example of Saudi Arabia as well. I think that was really good. And yeah, Nike is doing great with sustainability. At least they're testing their products and not, things are not falling apart like the one that you mentioned in the Adidas example. So yeah, I fully agree. What about some risks though? I mean, obviously every company and brand has their own risks.
There's always a bad side. So I mean, we'll start with the obvious ones like supply chain problems.
Hmm.
If there's any kind of problems with like late shipments, they're equivalent to angry customers and lost sales.
Hmm.
A company as big as Nike, they shouldn't be having these type of problems.
Agreed.
Um, Also talking about problems, they've got rising costs and ethical and labor concerns. So we all know that raw materials and labor are getting kind of pricey.
Hmm.
And bad factory news, they can really hurt Nike's brand.
Hmm. Yeah, especially
Uh,
the tariffs and stuff.
mhm,
That can also create this additional problem.
yeah. But also we can also move on to the changing consumer trends.
Hmm.
So you know how there's a new type of trend or fashion every single week?
Hmm.
If Nike misses the fashion vibe, trendier brands could steal the spotlight. They need to know what's going on.
Yeah. Sometimes
Um,
need to
Nike,
decide themselves on what the fashion will be
yeah,
ahead of
yeah,
consumers know.
mhm, yeah, and they're also too dependent on certain markets and tariffs. So they have heavy reliance on China and North America, plus Trump's rising tariffs. It can disturb sales and strategy.
Correct.
Also, here we come to the beef. They can fall out with key retailers like Foot Locker, and it can mess with Nike's distribution power.
Hmm.
And finally, the most obvious one, tough competition. Adidas is gaining ground globally,
Hmm.
almost everywhere except North America. But also, hungry challengers like Puma and On are right behind. So Nike have to watch out.
Yeah, they have to do something about it for sure. Okay, so let's talk about temp Samsung. For those who do not know what temp Samsung is, basically when we estimate the total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, and the market share, which is the sum within that serviceable market. It is a way for
Yeah,
the investors to project into the future and assume if whether this industry is potential, with the growth rates are interesting, and whether the company can outgrow and drive the growth
yeah,
of that category, and whether they're investable or not. So why don't
yeah.
you take us through the Nike's temp Samsung in the next 5 years?
So their TAM, which is total addressable market, by 2030, the global sportswear pie is predicted to hit 735 billion US dollars.
Mhm.
And Nike is in the same ring as Adidas, Puma, Lululemon, and even local brands.
Mhm.
However, Nike's real hunting ground is about 475 billion US dollars by 2030. They're focused on mid to premium categories, not
Mhm.
the budget stuff.
Mhm. Mhm. So that
But right now, sorry, yeah,
yeah, so basically you're estimating the total addressable market CAGR, compound annual growth,
yeah,
for the next 5 years to be six.
yeah,
Yeah. And
mhm, yeah,
and
yeah,
when you remove the part that is not realistic for Nike to target, you're getting to 475 billion of serviceable addressable market, correct?
yeah.
Yep. Okay, what about some?
So, moving on to some. So, right now, Nike's pulling in $51.4 billion, as we know. But by 2030, it could stretch to that 75 to 80 billion US dollars. I mean, if it holds on to that 15 to 17% market share. If not, it's I don't think it's likely that they're gonna reach that goal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And like, why does it matter? Like, you're probably all wondering, why does that matter?
Mm-hmm.
With strong, that with strong DTC growth, digital moves and expansion, Nike's aiming for 7 to 9% in annual growth. But if Nike jumps from 50 to 75 billion in 5 years, that's your CAGR in action.
Mm-hmm.
Slow, steady, and serious compounding.
Yeah, I like the way you mentioned it. In order to get to that SEM that you were talking about, which is 475 billion, you want to make sure that your calculation based on Nike
Yeah.
maintain 15 to 17% market share.
Mhm.
To maintain that, you are placing a CAGR on Nike in the next 5 years to 79%, let's say average 8%. And the category growth was expected to be 6% growth, which means you expect Nike to grow faster than the category and drive the category
Yeah.
growth and therefore get you that market share increase that you're looking for. Great, great. Okay, so how about this? Like, how does all this translate into the share performance? I mean, obviously, the Nike's revenue or top line, bottom line has been quite disappointing, depending on which year it was. But now, 2024, they're getting a double hit. So, what's going on, from the
Yeah.
inception of Nike in the stock market till now?
So, let's talk about like the good side first. I mean, there's barely any good side, but like, we'll try to start from the most positive one that we have. I mean, since going public, Nike's up 2,273%. I mean,
Wow.
but that's a long game. In general, Nike's not doing too well. If you zoom into the last 10 years, just 11%
Mm.
growth. That's pretty disappointing for a brand this big. And in fact, it's down 67% from its all-time high.
Whoa,
And this year, and just in the past year, they lost 38%.
whoa.
Today, today it trades for around $58. But that's the same price as back in July 2015. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean the price now is around 61, I think, but still it's really, really low.
Yeah.
I mean imagine, buying the shares of this company 10 years ago and you look at now and you just your price is appreciated by your money appreciated by only
Yeah.
11%, which means you lost against the inflation.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, now the question is it investable? So what is your recommendation as Black Mesa analyst, Miss Maya?
Wait, can I add something to the past slide?
Yes,
I
sure.
forgot to add something. I mean, I didn't forget, but like I wanted to add something after you said it. So, we just want to look at what's hurting it.
Mhm.
I reason to believe it's like a brutal mix of the COVID shocks, inflation, high interest rates, and China tariffs.
Well said.
So we can conclude it's a legendary brand. It's a legendary brand, but lately, not really a legendary stock, is it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you highlighted very important 4 points because, I mean, of course, we have the factor that you have the four factors here, but there's the fifth factor, which is the having the wrong CEO, which contributed a lot to this issue. But even if you probably had the right CEO for the job, you had terrible couple of news that hit the company, hit any business basically. The COVID and then inflation spiked up, if you remember, significantly, and then interest rates were raised by the Federal Reserve, and then the China tariffs are now the tariffs that Trump put on China are causing this trouble for the business. So yeah, a lot of problems. But the question then to Maya, is it an opportunity or is it just stay away from this stock?
Yeah. So, moving on to my beautiful face and my personal recommendation. So, um, we know that the stock's near rock bottom. It's making a rare entry point for long-term investors.
Mhm.
I mean, Nike's still a global giant with unmatched brand power and loyal customers. The direct-to-consumer sales are absolutely booming, giving Nike more control and more profit.
Mhm.
And it's also investing heavily in digital. Think AI, apps, and personalized fitness. The growth is strong in emerging markets. especially Asia and Southeast Asia. However, innovation is non-stop. New tech, smarter jobs, and stronger products line happening every single day. But, yep, there are risks. Competition, costs, tariffs. But Nike's fundamentals are solid. So let's look at the bottom line. This is a short-term dip in a long-term story. And that story still got legs.
Yeah, so it's a buy recommendation by Maya Bergenon. Yeah, so well, I totally agree. And there's one more factor. The CEO that is at the helm right now has been with the company for 30 years, and he knows the company in and out, the products, the innovation.
Mhm.
He knows the internal dynamics and the culture and the politics in the company, how to pull strings and how to get stuff done. So I believe that's another factor to consider. And I agree with your recommendation that the stock price, represents a generational opportunity for the long-term investor. I believe 2026
Mhm.
will be the year when the profits and the revenue will hopefully recover and go back into growing and
Yeah.
acceleration mode. So yeah, well, thank you so much, Maya. That was a wonderful presentation. I know that you prepared everything from the scratch. You did your research. You then put together the presentation. You collaborated with me. You have then
Yeah.
actually created a very nice story and did this podcast with us. So thank you so much, and I thank you for on behalf of all the audience. And we see you next time with another deep dive.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.